So Motorola just released the new Moto G Play for $170 in the United States. And this is the unlocked version, which should work on all major carriers with 32 gigabytes of storage, which I know it could be a deal breaker for some of you out there, and is probably one of the biggest drawbacks from a phone like this, but you are able to add a micro SD card up to 512 gigabytes if you want to store things like photos or large files that you don't want taking up valuable space. This thing also has a massive 6.5-inch display, and they're advertising up to 3 days battery life. It's got a 13 megapixel main camera setup with a 2 megapixel depth sensor, which should be good for most photos and will give you decent portrait shots as well, and is also water repellent, so I definitely wouldn't try to go swimming with this one. There's only one color though, which is misty blue. It's actually sort of a gradient matte finish on the back, and I think overall it looks really good. It's got a massive 5,000 milliamp hour battery to keep you going for those 3 days, plus has a 10-watt charger, which is actually included in the box. I'm just glad to see they're still including these with budget devices. It's weird how on flagship devices they're getting rid of headphone jacks, micro SD cards, and now the charging bricks. I'm pretty sure next they're going to be getting rid of the box and just give us our new phones in a Ziploc bag. But after testing the Moto G Power battery life, I would expect this one to be just as good, maybe slightly better. I haven't had it quite long enough to do that test, but I should know here within the next day or two. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see this phone compared to another phone you're thinking of getting. I know I've got at least 2 other phones that I'm probably going to compare to this one. Just not sure if I'm going to be able to get to it this week. And as far as performance goes, it has a Snapdragon 460 processor with 3 gigabytes of RAM and ships with Android 10. Software seems fairly snappy without too much lag, and on paper you would think this phone is going to be pretty slow. But it actually performed better than the new Galaxy A12 in benchmark tests, and it just feels a lot smoother than the Galaxy A12. If you want to see some reasons on why not to buy the Galaxy A12, you should watch my video, cause yeah, I don't think you should buy it. And then when testing games like PUBG Mobile, Call of Duty Mobile, and Asphalt 9, it actually played fairly decent, pretty much right on par with other devices I've tested in this price range. The display on here is 1600 by 720 resolution, so yeah, it's only a 720p IPS screen, but surprisingly, it actually looks pretty good for what it is. And it's also a 20:9 aspect ratio, and weighs in at 204 grams with a plastic body, which is expected at this price point. Overall though, I think the screen looks good for watching videos like YouTube or Netflix. Sure, text might not look quite as crisp on here as on a 1080p display, so unless you're all about the specs and no treble, I think most people are going to be happy with what you're getting. Now this phone does have a bottom firing speaker, which is okay I guess. I definitely prefer when they've got another one up in the earpiece, and I feel like it could be a little bit louder, but I guess it is what it is. It's also got 2 microphones and a 3.5mm headphone jack. Here's a quick sound test just to give you an idea of what it sounds like. Quite as fast on the charging. You can also choose between 2 different colors, flash gray and polar silver. Another difference you'll probably notice from last year's model is they moved the fingerprint scanner from the back to the side now, where the power button doubles as the fingerprint scanner. And I've got to say, so far I like what they've done here. They made it a little bit larger where the power button is, so it's easier to scan your fingerprint, and it actually works really fast. There's also a lot of other functions you can do with the power button now as well. You'll notice they put the cameras in the middle on the back now, which I think does look better than last year's model. Now the camera app on here is really simple. You just got video and photo, and then you can go into a few extras like portrait, slow motion, panorama, time-lapse, hyperlapse, live filter, and pro modes. Overall, I think it does a decent job of taking photos as long as you're in good lighting conditions. And when it comes to video, you can do full HD up to 60 frames per second on the rear camera at least. Overall, not bad for a phone at this price point. And now I'll show you a few samples of photos and video just to give you an idea of what to expect. Overall, I really like what Motorola is doing with these new entry-level devices as far as build quality and the matte finish on the back, but I wish they would at least make the Moto G Power with a 1080p resolution like they did last year. I mean, I can understand why they do a 720p on this one just because it's cheaper. You're still going to get the same great software from Motorola that I've always liked. It's very close to stock Android, but they add in a few customizations and Moto actions, plus a few other features. So as long as you're okay with a 720p screen, then yeah, I would say you need to check this one out. But for me personally, I'd spend just a little more on the Moto G Power, just to get a little better performance and more storage. Hopefully this video gives you a little closer look of the new Moto G Play 2021 version by Motorola. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishbee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.